And this car runs from 2000 all the way up to 2006.
Goddamn, get it done, will ya? Woo. When I blow up now, everybody's so unusual with it. Shit. But said times in his rhymes, cause his memories. We running through New York.
Okay guys, so here we have a BMW E53 X5, and if a lot of you don't know who's going to be watching this video, this is a 2006 model facelift E53. Now these cars are becoming more and more popular day by day. One reason is because these are based off the E39, which is the most loved 5 Series, as many people do know. The second reason is because they're coming cheaper and cheaper, and for an SUV 4x4 you can't beat the price of what you can get these for. If you look at the styling and the way these drive and the practicality of them, there's no other 4x4 that will do justice like the E53 X5. Not only that, but there is no other car on the market, even Audi, because I've had the Q7s, or can stand up to the competition of these and also be as reliable as these. Now when I talk reliable, I'm actually talking about the whole E53 in general. So from 2005 to 2006, these cars become more reliable. If any of you have had the early models, you'll know a lot of them weren't facelifted, didn't have the angel eyes, and they didn't actually look the way this looks right here. Secondly, there was a lot of issues with them, with the air suspension problems and the electronics inside, i.e. the electric steering column, a lot of engine problems. So for instance, if you've got the M54 engine inside this, you're going to have all your cooling issues, your oil problems, and also your gearbox problems, which many people are already aware of. The gearboxes like to go out. If you've got the 4.4, the timing chain guides like to go out on that, which nobody likes doing, so they're the most avoided model that you can probably come across. If you've got the 4.6 and the 4.8, they will have issues with the valve stem seals. So they all have their issues. Now, bearing in mind, if you can see on the side that this is a 3-litre diesel, this is actually very, very reliable, and it's a most highly sought after model in the UK and the EU because of their reliability. So they don't suffer with your normal oil leaks, they don't suffer with a lot of issues, they're very, very reliable, go to high mileage without issue. And as I've said before, many countries across the world, the army uses this engine in their army trucks because of how reliable it actually is. Range Rover even use this diesel engine in their diesels, the same as they use the M62 engine as well. But everyone here went for the diesel because it's a very, very solid, reliable unit. And if many of you guys don't know either, the Range Rover, which is the P38 edition, actually used the BMW modules inside their car as well, which a lot of people are not even aware of. So if you actually buy a Range Rover on the same year as this, 2006, it will be everything BMW, especially if you get a diesel. It will have all the same modules, it will have the same engine, which will be the M57 engine as well inside it. So there isn't many differences, just you're getting a Range Rover compared to a BMW. But the BMW E53 still stands out even today and still gets noticed and is still loved and cherished because of the way the E39 was so well received and being said, and everyone knows the E39 is the best 5 Series around and also the best looking 5 Series around for a lot of people. This is why more people are coming to the X5, because a lot of these owners come from the E39 and then want the X5, which is the E53, or they've got both and they choose to keep both because of the way these look. If many of you guys don't know, this was designed, they actually gave the guy only an hour to design this on the plane because it was their first SUV that they were going to design, and they wanted to be in a competition, BMW with Audi and with Volkswagen, to compete with them. And this was the first SUV they actually created. And to be fair, for it to only take an hour to design, now reliability terms, a long-standing point for owning one of these, is it worth for you to go out and buy one, and is it going to be reliable? Well, as I've said with any BMW, it all depends on you. There is a lot of factors that if you get newer years, you skimp a lot of the issues, but they were mostly major issues. But it all goes by you and how you're going to look after it, and if you're going to be able to do all the work yourself, and if you've got the money to actually maintain it, if you're going to have to take it to a garage. Now, these cars do require a lot of maintenance. The diesels actually do not, providing you change the oil, you change the crankcase breather if it's got the old loo roll type, which this one doesn't, you'll have no issues whatsoever. This also has the 6-speed automatic transmission. As many of you guys know, this moved up to the same transmission what the E60's got, Any years on 2004 will have the 5-speed, which is very problematic, and they do give up, and everyone actually knows that. But this has the 6-speed, it's more reliable, and people go hundreds of thousands of miles without issue on these gearboxes at all. So this has the more reliable unit. Bearing in mind this is only on 80k as well, so it's very low mileage as well. But if you're going to get the M54 version, which I know a lot of you are going to watch this video, if you're in the US, can only get all the 4.4, avoid it like the plague. The M62 engine and the M54 engines are prone to failure. Most of them have a 5-speed gearbox. They never revised that and gave it a 6-speed on the M54. The M62 didn't have a 6-speed gearbox either, and it was problematic as well. It was a 5-speed gearbox, as a timing chain failure. If you've got the 4.6, 4.8, I mean, that's more reliable because it only suffers the valve stem seal issue, which can be sorted, and then you don't have no other issues after that. And that also got the 6-speed gearbox, which is actually very reliable and very powerful. So if you are in the market looking for a BMW E53, and if they're going to be reliable, I would say the only ones that are actually reliable is the 3-litre diesel or the 4.6 or the 4.8. Now, a lot of you are going to knock me and say, but you want to buy the M54 version. If you want to buy the M54 version, you have to be prepared to deal with the issues that's going to come with it, and it's not going to be reliable. Anyone who owns these knows the M54 is a heap of crap, and I can actually say that because I've owned 2 of them before this. I owned a 2003 and I owned a 2001, and you guys would have seen that on my Instagram. I had the 3-litre version of the petrol, and it was a heap of crap. This is the newer model. This is the last year of the X5, and as I said, the diesel is the way to go on these. Now in the US, a lot of you ain't gonna be able to get the diesel, but if you're in the market looking for one, as I said, try and avoid the M54 and the M62 engines. Go for the N62 with the 4.6 and the 4.8 engine, which is more reliable than any of the other engines. And if you're in the UK and EU, make sure to get the diesel, guys. These cars are very, very robust and very reliable and very economical as well for the weight of them, and they are very, very quick. There is no need to go and remap them if you're planning to buy one. These cars still look presentable, and when they're coming down the road, they have a styling like no other. And if I'm honest with you, I prefer the E53 over the E70. Now, a lot of you guys who are going to watch this are going to say, but I favour the E60. Yes, I do. That's my preferable 5 Series, but if I was to get an X5, it has to be the E53 because it's got a more aggressive stance than the E70, and this is why I chose the E53. Not only that, a lot of you guys will probably know I'm a very strong lover of the E39 as well. I do love the E39, and this is why I went for the E53. Now, when you look inside, as you see in the interior is very still up to date by any standards. I mean, you've got the nice steering wheel here. You don't have the old style steering wheel, which is fitted to most 4x4s these days still, and it's very up to date. You've also got over there, you've got your telly, you've got your Bluetooth, your sat navigation, which obviously the sat navigation ain't up to date and not as good as the latest ones, but it's still got sat nav for something that a lot of cars don't have. The Bluetooth works, as you guys would have seen on my previous video. Television fully works, and it's digital, so it'll work all the way now till 10 years later. So you get a lot of bang for your buck inside one of these. But this is not to say every model is going to be the same. Please bear in mind, you might be buying one without all the sat nav, but I strongly looked for one that had everything because it was 06 the last year. I wanted it in diesel, I wanted it low mileage, and I wanted it to come with everything. And that's exactly what I did. I went out of my way and got one that was fitted with everything. As I said, these don't have issues. The gearbox is solid and reliable. Electronic wise, now a lot of you are going to ask me about the electronics on these. If I'm honest with you, these cars on this year, electric seats, all the sat nav and things didn't really suffer any issues. The only thing that really suffered issues would be the sound coming from the BM54 modules you would have seen in my video, where the car's producing no sound coming through the speakers, or some of the speakers only working and the others not, or your sound cutting out, or you're not having to get TV tuning stations. That will be from a BM54 module. Again, it's not hard to replace, and it's not expensive to replace either. You can buy them very, very cheap these days, or you can get them repaired for very, very cheap. Okay guys, so have you seen there now? I've just gone over the BMW X5 E53 reliability video of 2020. As I said, these cars are reliable and can be reliable based on you and your skills, and obviously garages will not charge you a fortune to fix these either, because the electronics don't really go wrong. It's mostly the suspension components and engine components that's only going to go wrong on these cars. Electronic wise, this car is very, very reliable and doesn't usually give any issues. And as I said, if you're coming from an E39 to the E53, which most of you will be, these cars are reliable, and if you know about your E39, you will know about this. They're very, very easy to fix, and everything is very, very cheap for these cars as well. So hope it's going to help you decide if you want a BMW E53 X5. Thank you very much for watching this BMW Dr. Dean here, and goodbye.